Alright, Htp family, you're tuning into the pro-black perspective on KWAZ radio. Be sure to check out everything on the KWAZ network. But right now we're going to start off with this program today, which is reading the Book of Power. This is episode 7, and this is after Affiong again, because she's one of the greatest speakers that you can listen to. Because a lot of the great speakers of our past were there before the audio visual generation, but she's someone that we can capture on camera and film. Unfortunately, now check this out, I can't find this video to play for you. Alright, because I can't find this video to play for you, it's another reason why you should transcribe the works that you hear on YouTube and so on and so forth, because when you don't subscribe it, they're lost for generations. You know, it's imperative that we have a written record of what our ancestors have said, or our ancestors and our Ancobia and our brave warriors of today, what they say, so that we can move forward without, missing a beat, right? So I'm going to go into it. This is Affiong, somebody is sleepwalking and that person looks like you. I'm also going to remind you at the end that there's a debate that's going to be happening in next week. Okay, so next week there's going to be a debate kind of after this program. So definitely try to tune in on that too. We're going to have a moderator and everything. It's going to be me and I'm a bookman talking about spirituality. But before then, let's get into it, right? Affiong. We're reading the Book of Power. This is page 80, all right? So if you have the book, open up to page 80, and you got it, right? So she says, somebody is sleepwalking, and that person looks like you. So here's the exposition. Mama does it again. She has matchless clarity. And although Shaka Zulu was an Aurstory, right? See the pro-black compendium or the glossary, right? The need for discipline is a necessary communication. So let me explain that Shaka Zulu comment, because a lot of people are not going to get that. One of the things that we do as African people is we kind of adopt the Wazungu. We kind of adopt the Wazungu. Actually, look, we're going to discuss, I should tell you this too, we're going to discuss Yurugu next week as well, right? Next week, Saturday. So I'm going to have an open discussion on Yurugu, chapter 1. And the reason why I bring up that is because what Yurugu does is it explains the Wazungu epistemology. The Wazungu epistemology, basically the way that white people know things and understand things. And what you realize is that is a part of, that's part of white people controlling our minds without even being there. Because if you are to think like a white person, then you can do the things that white people are doing, right? Now, Shaka Zulu was good and bad, but one of the things that was kind of bad is the fact that he kind of went on like a genocidal rampage across Africa, Now, there were other people who, and now obviously to unite and strengthen yourself, that's important, right? But there are other ways to unite and strengthen without just slaughtering people. And on top of that, the slaughter also involved, because we're going to be talking about discipline, but it also involved extreme sexual abstinence, that kind of stuff, which is, borderline unhealthy. There's a way to, I shouldn't even say borderline unhealthy. It's unhealthy, right? There's a way to have discipline that doesn't involve, human abuse and all that kind of stuff. Now, we can get into that. That's a whole other conversation. That would actually be another interesting debate. So if you're interested in that conversation, we can do that. But realistically speaking, there are ways to go about with the unity of Africa and the liberation of African people. And obviously, for us, we want to advocate a solution for our people that doesn't involve, extreme deprivation, extreme harm, extreme hurt. There's a way to do things positively. Obviously there's always going to be you expect war, you expect pain, you expect struggle, but it doesn't necessarily need to be that is the aim, that's the end goal. But that's a whole other conversation, right? And obviously, if you have the pro-black compendium, you can see where I discuss the Zulu Wars, and essentially, you could get a broader image. Now, I think it's only a paragraph or two, but you can get a broader image onto why this claim is made about Shaka Zulu. But he's a good guy. So, but let's go on. So, although Shaka Zulu was an Askari, see the pro-black compendium and the glossary, and the glossary will just tell you what Askari is. The need for discipline is a necessary communication, right? She's also right about the airplanes. Neither diasporal nor continental Africans, generally speaking, understand the need for self-determination or the use of our own resources. Eurasians, though, through their places of worship, right? Their places of worship. I don't say worship. I say their places of worship. And universities set Africans up to serve them. So it's upon you to organize and develop your own places of worship and universities. And you kind of see the capital letters, capitalized worship. But this is really important, They set up places of worship, okay? So they set up locations like mosques, synagogues, churches. You go to these churches and you learn how to serve them. You go to these universities and you learn how to serve them because, again, like I said, not only do they teach the, Wazungu epistemology, right? But they also just, they inundate you with basically they're teaching you the things that they teach their own lower class. Okay? So if you're learning what their lower class is learning, their lower class is not learning how to serve and big up and promote Africa. Their lower class is learning how to serve their upper class. Right? So if you're going to their worship, their places of worship, and you're going to their universities, you're learning how to serve their upper class as well. You understand? So this is it's imperative for us to also develop our own places of worship and our own universities. And of course, I'm probably going to discuss this inside of the debate next week. But this is really what it is. So I say Mama is a top African. You got to know Affiong is a top African, top tier African. So, but pay attention to what she says. No more socializing and chatting. It's time for doing and discipline. Like, pay attention to what she says. She says, we shouldn't be socializing and chatting. It's time for doing and discipline. And here's the thing. You might even say, look, Oni, what about debating? What about podcasting? What about this? What about that? And it's like, yes, realistically speaking, you should be critical on that. The only difference I'm going to say, right, is that you can't necessarily not have any socialization and not have necessarily no chatting. But you're supposed to listen to people who give you the instructions. Matter of fact, early on, I used to want to design buttons, right? Now, obviously, I should have said shirts, right? But I wanted to design buttons. One of the designs I made was this quote I just made up, and I said, "The search for knowledge is the search for instructions." You have to. The issue with us is that we confuse knowledge without instructions as knowledge. If and so, like, a lot of people will, like, for instance, I just saw this video of this father and son. It was a sad video. Father and son, like, getting into a shootout or something, right? And that was it, right? And it's like, I could just show you that video and be like, that's it. But if I show you that video and like, some people show you that video and be like, oh yeah, black people are doing blah blah blah, or blah 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 blah, or whatever. You can present knowledge, but if you present instructions alongside it, you're doing the first step of doing. Because remember that doing, right? Remember that actions follow knowledge. You understand? Actions follow knowledge. If you want to, I can't remember the quote off the top of my head. It's actually on the cover, I believe, of the Pro-Black Compendium, right? But on the cover of the Pro-Black Compendium, there's this quote by Keti Yasaba, right? Which basically means Keti the Seventh, but or Keti the Sixth, I don't know. But I should know my Swahili. I should know my Swahili numbers. I gotta practice it. But the quote goes along the lines of, like, follow your ancestors for work follows knowledge or something like that. I really feel like I should have my book on hand, but I'm just trying to get through this, right? So, but the idea is that you can't dismiss knowledge, because it's knowledge that informs work. If I want to build, like we just mentioned, airplanes. If I want to build an airplane, I need a certain sense of knowledge. You understand? Just the same, if you want to liberate people, you do want a certain sense of knowledge, and that's really why I'm promoting, books on top of that. It's not like books are not nothing. Gossip is nothing. If I tell you, hey, oh yeah, do you know that? Oh yeah, like recently, this person cheated on his wife, right? Like that's nothing. There's nothing. Now, obviously, if I say, there's ways to get, if I give you knowledge with it, that's okay-ish, right? If it's a real social problem, it's a real social problem that you believe that solving will make a difference, then sure. But otherwise, it's just gossip. It's just chit-chat. That's something that has to go. But talking and discussing and debating and all that, if it comes with instructions, if it comes with knowledge, if it comes with something that can change and transform our situation, then absolutely speak up, okay? So I say get up and get going, right? Africa's resources are yours. Study in the Waset how to use them and let the Keru guide us. So that's just a hint towards what this book is about, Keru, Boko Waset na Keru, right? But anyway, so I hope everybody's enjoying that. If you're in the YouTube live, please like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And obviously drop some comments. Say hello. What's up? Who are the people in here? But we're going to go into the paragraph now. So this is Affiong. She says, how do you think Shaka Zulu was able to defeat the British? Now that's really important right there. Understand what she just asked. How do you think Shaka Zulu was able to defeat the world's superpower at the time? The level of discipline in the Zulu army. You have to go and read these things and apply them to your life. She's saying discipline is the key, right? Discipline is a key for Africans to defeat imperialism. All right? It was so high that they had no alternative but to defeat the British. You understand this? They are so high that they had no alternative. There was no options but to win. Right? And I mean, obviously, this is not, an exact science, but still, there was no alternative but to defeat the British. And they had inferior weapons, quote unquote. But they still defeated those people. You understand? The thing you have to understand, this is why I talk about warship and war and so on and so forth. The thing you have to understand is that, I'll put it actually this way, right? Like I give the example of what's so important about organizing. If 5 people decided to fight 50 people in a 50 people in a building, right? You know how people have residence houses, right? Apartments, right? Apartment building. 5 people said, I want to beat up the 50 people in that apartment building, right? If the 50 people walked out one by one, the 5 people would win, especially if the 5 people worked together as a team. If the 5 people had that discipline, right? And of course, if you recall, actually in both books, in the Pro-Black Compendium and the Book of Power, we talk about discipline as something that we need to develop in our schools, our Boko, our just in general life. If you're trying to improve yourself, and I'm not gonna front, it's partially based off of video games. No, not video games, but like RPGs, role-playing games, whatever. But the idea is that there are 8 attributes to an individual, right? And I mean, there's probably more, but I mean, there's more, like wealth and so on and so forth. But there's 8 attributes. It's mainly strength. I would say physique. Like things that you can improve of yourself. You can improve your strength. You can improve your physique. You can improve your intelligence. You can improve your wisdom. You can improve your charm, right? You can improve your discipline, right? Discipline, remember that. And I think, and then there was dexterity and I think agility or something. I don't know. But these are things you can improve about yourself. But not improve, but these are things that characterize you in a sense, right? But discipline, we define discipline in the book, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's like the ability to like charm is like the ability to influence other people or like get other people to do what you want them to do. But discipline is the ability to do what you want to do, right? And this is what you have to focus yourself on. It's your discipline, but not just discipline in that sense, really, but also discipline in the sense of militant organization. In this book, in the Book of Power, we're going to discuss, the realistic question of, where is your leadership? Where is your leadership? Like, if you are at war, right? If you're at war per se, right? Then you should be in an army, correct? And if you're in an army, right? Remember, she said the Zulu army, the discipline of the Zulu army. If you're in an army, you need a certain hierarchy in place, okay? Unless you have, unless you're in like even if you're in a guerrilla situation, but guerrilla situation would be the only exception to which the discipline, the hierarchy isn't so explicit in a sense. But you have to have some sort of hierarchy. You can't say you're a soldier and have no captain. You can't say you're a captain and have no soldiers. You can't say you're a captain and have no general. You understand? The issue at hand is that when you have that discipline, right? When you have that discipline is also, following that command order, that command chain, or respecting the command chain. Because in a real combat situation, right? Now, obviously, you know the 1 versus 1, like I told you about the video earlier. The boy shooting, the family shootout. That's terrible. It's sad, right? But if you could see, it's uncoordinated. Fortunately, because of that, neither of them were shot. There was a shot at. But if you're talking about coordinated action, if, for instance, either party had one extra person, and they coordinated, it would be a distraction, and one of them would have been shot. You understand? That this is it's imperative that you understand that discipline and strategy, go hand in hand in military victory, even against stronger foes. Now, obviously, there's a limit to what low technology can do to high technology. Okay? There's a limit, right? But all the same, it's so important that we organize and develop that sort of strategic play, that strategic, the strategic role that we need to take. Obviously, we have to develop technology as well. That's why in the book, one of the 3 commands, if you will, is organize, technologize, and strategize against Africa's invaders. You have to do the 3. You have to organize, technologize, and strategize. You can't just do one or the other. But all the same, that's one of the things that discipline really means for us. Right? I hope y'all got that. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Because the question of, so he says, that's why I told you at the beginning that for me, it's not just about socializing or just chatting. It's for us to internalize some of these things and make an impact on our minds. You can't just this person, like people talking about this person cheating or something. It's like, okay, that makes that's fine, for the day. But what are you going to internalize from that? What is the impact you're trying to make on other people? Yes, the wife seems traumatized or victimized or whatever. I don't know, right? I don't even pay attention to it. But what is the long term? What is the long term, ramifications? Because listen to this. If somebody listens to this same podcast in 2 years, they're gonna be like, who is he talking about? They're gonna ask, who is he talking about? Who's cheating on who? Because it's not important. You understand? Shaka Zulu is important. And that's the thing I wanted to say, why I was a little stumbling, because I was trying to figure out how to bring up this. But Sedeshwayo, I can't remember how to say his name, Sedeshwayo, but basically it was, I think, Shaka Zulu's nephew or grandnephew or something like that. But this is the dude who taught, who first employed the I think it's called like the line shoot, like some sort of format of military strategy, right? That was essentially, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was eventually played out, like eventually showed up in the American Revolution. Like the Americans used it to beat the British too, you know. And I don't know the timing because I'm not really exact on like at the moment I'm not really exact on the dates on the dating, but you know, Sedeshwayo teaches this like line formation that we're all familiar with at this point. But that's the thing with African genius. Now, and you know, just that, I think it's that you know how, like, you know it. I believe it's, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to review my own literature, but it's when, you know, like the first line is shooting and then they stop and they duck or whatever, and then, you know, while they're reloading, the next line shoots, right? And they stop, duck, and reload, and it basically just increases the firepower, as opposed to what probably was the case with the British before that, which was that they just walked in a line, you know, shooting and reloading, you know, while they were standing or some stupid stuff like that, you know. But basically, it's like, you know, and it's not even like, you know, that's another form of technology, I'll say, you know, that's another form of technology, I'd say, but that's really like, but that's also discipline, you know, because to be secure in your discipline, to be secure in your training, and say, you know what, if I shoot and then I just duck while I'm being fired at, okay, and reload my gun, and then, you know, the person behind me shoots and I time it, you know, I time it so I don't stand up, right, you know what I mean, while they're shooting at me or whatever, and then they duck and they do whatever, and I'm providing cover for them, and I stand up and shoot. You know, that's brave, because again, you're in a situation where one thing can end your life, end your career permanently. You know, this is bravery, but you stick to your discipline, because, you know, the human reaction might be, because a lot of times when you go into these shootouts, you know, you see the person to the left of you drop, person to the right of you drop, and you just say, nah, F this, and you start running. You understand? And sometimes, obviously, they would kill somebody who runs. And that's something that the Zulu army would do, too. You know, they would kill somebody who would run, which is, you know, partly, like again, it has its merits and demerits, you know? But, you know, the merit is that you don't have people breaking formation and breaking the courage and bravery of other people. And that's another thing that you know, we have to consider. But, of course, it's harder because now you're killing your own people, you know? And you're putting the task on your own people to kill your own people. And, you know, that could be a hard thing, too. Like, imagine, you know, we're in a combat situation, right? And we survive it, right? And I, you know, I'm like, hey, yeah, you're cool and all, right? But you ran. And so we might have spent, you know, how many years training together, or how many months training together, whatever. You know, we became fast friends, or well, not fast friends. I don't know what that means. But well, I'm not even gonna say I don't know what that means. I just might be the wrong term. But we became friends or whatever. And then it's like, oh, you ran, and then I gotta go kill you. You understand? Or imagine me running. Yeah, right. Anyway, but let's go. Because for us to internalize some of these things that are passed by, because the question of African liberation is such a major issue to us and those that will come after us. You understand? As Africans all over the world, we're not dealing with the issues. We think we're dealing with the day-to-day, feeding our stomach, looking for a job, getting some small money that takes us nowhere anyway. When any of you are going back home, those of you who are continentals, even diasporas, who are going on the plane, don't you see how all the planes are filled with white people? You know? That's another thing. You know, you could 100% expect people to you know, you expect white people to be filling the airplanes. Not just that, white people are the ones like who have the airlines for the most part. You know, I see Lowland Profits is in the chat room. So, you know, he said 100 and the praise. So, you know, good looks, family, for being here. You know, everybody, I appreciate everybody for listening, whether it's on the playback, whether it's on the live stream. You know, I appreciate you, and thank you for your comments, thank you for your likes, and of course, thank you for getting the book. And you know, I'm enjoying rereading this, but I realize that I gotta go back and read my own book sometimes too. You know, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the book's for me too. You know, I need to know what year I should know what year the Zulu Wars were. Like whether it preceded the American Revolution or not. Oh no, sorry, not the American Revolution. The War of like the one where the British came back. I guess I don't know. But that's it. You know, you can win against other countries, especially as long as you have a certain technological level. It's even more possible. You know, but that's what we have to be about. We have to be about going to Africa and doing so on and so forth. So anyway, but she says, yeah, the airplanes are filled with white people. You know, the airplanes are filled with white people. And she's like, what do you think they're going to do there? You know, huh? They're going to access resources. And not just resources, I'm not going to front. They're also getting sexual access to you. Just the same way how, like, there's sexual tourism, they joke about it. There's this skit on SNL, right? So I started watching SNL. There's a skit on SNL, right, where these women are like, SNL is Saturday Night Live. It's like a big, like 30-year show, you know, sketch. I don't know what it is. Sketch comedy, I guess. It used to be incredibly unfunny, but it's, I don't know, maybe it's funnier now that, you know, we're in quarantine or something, right? But anyway, but the thing with it is that, you know, they had this sketch where these white women were like, you know, go to Africa to go sleep with the men, right? But they're like coding it. But they're like, yeah, you know, I'm a married woman, but I go to Africa to get to get mine. And they're just joking. They're laughing about it. You know, it's supposed to be funny. That's comedy. But it's like, you know, it's not just white women. It's white men. Everybody. You know, there's another skit, matter of fact, of them going to Thailand. Like guys want to learn Thailand. You know, the language of the Thai, I don't know what it is, but, you know, they're trying to learn the language just to solicit sex from, you know, teenagers or whatever, you know, but that's what they do, because, you know, that's part of why you would go to another country as well, not just for the resources, but for the people as well, because the people, if you destroy the country, right, are going to be desperate enough to sleep with anybody. You understand? They'll be desperate enough to use their bodies on anybody. Because see, like for instance, $50 for me ain't nothing, or $50 for a white person ain't nothing. You know, like $50 for me ain't nothing. $50 for a white person with access to wealth and, you know, who's traveling a freaking airline, you know, $50 ain't nothing. But $50 to somebody who's broke is. You understand? And so you get rid of nothing to get their body. You know? And what you do with that body, you can abuse them. Because they are desperate. You know, they're not, oh, well, you know, I'm too good. You know, no, I'm not going to do that. They're not saying that. They'll do anything for that money. And you, because you know, that money is nothing, $50 ain't nothing. $100 ain't nothing. $200 ain't nothing. You know, when you have $300,000 in the bank, right? $200 ain't nothing. You ain't crying over $200,000. I mean, you ain't crying over $200. You know, you ain't crying over $1,000. And now, if you got negative, you know, if you got $0 in the bank, right? Somebody come around with $1,000, saying all you got to do is X, Y, Z. You know, something that you doing for free anyway. And then you can get $1,000 for it. The purposeful destruction of the planet, the purposeful destruction of other civilizations, not only opens them up for, you know, the resources, but it opens them up. You understand? You know, some people be like, oh man, how these black men gonna be going to these sleazy white women? You know, they out of shape, they old, they blah blah. And it's like, yeah, because if you talking about these white women giving them $1,000, you know. And they need money to survive because their civilization, their way of life was destroyed. You know, it tells you that you have to, first off. Now, like I said, knowledge has to have instruction. You have to build up that civilization. You have to build up that economy, because if you do not build it up, your people will be exploited either materially or physically. And mentally, of course. I remember somebody was having a conversation. Oh, actually, like I said, I'm having a debate with I'm a Bookman, right? I was listening to one of her videos, just because she linked it, not because I was trying to win a debate, you know what I'm saying? Although I do intend to do that. But anyway, I listened to a video, and she was interviewing this brother who was like, he doesn't like the churches, whatever, right? It's a good video. So the brother says, so she's a great interviewer. So she's asking him, all sorts of, hard questions, and he's like, look, one of the reasons why people go to church is because of social capital. If I go to another area, you're not going to get, quote unquote, free assistance unless you're in the church, unless you're involved in a sort of a place of worship. People, if you're desperate for citizenship, or you're desperate for a job, you got to go somewhere where you get some social capital. You got to go somewhere where the society is linking up with you, right? And on top of that, if we're being realistic, these churches, and I speak about this in one of my other lectures, right? But these churches, what they do is that they provide people with free food. They provide people with friends and friendship and all that kind of stuff. And that's something like it. When people are desperate, they go places where people are giving them things, and then obviously they open up to it. How many people and all over, even in the black community, people are being abused by the church. All over pastors messing with the congregation all the damn time because these people are desperate. You have to, we are able to give our people the resources, right? Make our people resourceful again, right? And give them that say back. I'm not too sure if it's in the preview, but it's in the book. Maurice Bishop is one of the, actually no, I don't think it's in the preview, right? Maurice Bishop has one of the best speeches too, right? One of the best speeches you can listen to. When he's talking about pre-revolutionary, in the country that he liberated, right? Grenada, right? Pre-revolutionary Grenada. He's saying, look, we're ending women being forced to do sexual favors to get a job. We're ending women being forced. So he's all the way in Grenada. And this is the situation that's happening all over, because it's like, if you have more than somebody, if somebody else is desperate, okay, you can compel them to do anything for what you got. And of course, if you're a man, and and unfortunately, like this basic, common sense, you're a man, and a woman's like, hey, I'm really desperate, or a woman is desperate, and she's great looking, Now you could be the noble character, you could be the noble man and say, I'll help this woman, regardless of if she's beautiful, because, I would help a man, regardless of, blah, blah, blah. You can be that noble person. But not everybody's that noble person. And if you have ignoble people in high positions, which you do have, and which we're trying to get rid of, but if you have ignoble people in high positions, yes, they're going to take advantage of these women. You understand? Because they're ignoble. And they got the resources, and they got what you want, and you got what they want. This is partly why I say, look, we have to put the Ancobia in the top. Because if the Ancobia is not on the top, you're going to have the Ascari. When you have the Ascari on the top, this is exactly what you're going to see. It's exactly what you're going to see. And if you have Wazungu on the top, it's exactly what you're going to see. But all right, let's keep going. They're going to access the resources. So it's not even just the resources. It's legit. They're going to access you as well as the resources. They get the best of both worlds, because that's what power does. Now you want to, and it's really important is that you want power to be in the hands of the people who can the people who are righteous, the people who are trained to be about the people. This is what Boko Waset Nakeru is about. So Absa Ekelan says, Hetepu, loved your message to the people lectures. Oh, thank you, bud. Thank you, boss. Yeah, the message to the people lectures were something else. I once had a class on the message to the people. It was pretty good. I had some saboteurs in it, but it is what it is, right? Like you just got to keep pushing. A Scotty, going to be a Scotty, but you just got to be Hankovia. You got to be about that liberation, all the time. As much as you can be, right? But anyway, so it says, they are going to access the resources, but we are running away in the opposite direction, coming to clean toilets and different places and all the other things we do here, and that's really what it is. I remember one of the first when I went to college, one of these sisters from some people don't like the term, but like she was a sister from Somalia, right? Let's say a black sister from Somalia, right? And yeah, she was in the middle of the Midwest, just cleaning toilets at the university, jacked up teeth. She had really bad teeth, but and I'll be honest, she was, besides from the jacked up teeth, she was a nice looking lady, or if nothing else, you could see, like you could see these white boys, because it was like a white university kind of, right? You could see these white boys like colluding against her, and of course she was so desperate. You don't know, like it would have been easy for these white boys to trap her, and then do whatever they want and say, hey, look, if you tell anybody, you'll get deported. You know what I mean? Now clean these toilets, and she would be silenced by the whole community because they're not looking. They're looking out for their sons more than they're looking out for some woman from another country. Some refugee. I'm not too sure if she was from Somalia, but the point being though is that like this is real life. In real life, you have to give people. You have to build up your continent so that your people come first. Your people are not going to come first in any other continent. And you're not going to come first in any other continent, period. And they're not going to come first on your continent unless you build up your continent. Because right now, if you're a sex tourist, if you're a white boy, like for instance, you're a white boy in the middle of Kenya right now, right now, while we talking, there's a white boy. Oh well, maybe not with coronavirus, I don't know, but before coronavirus, right? There's this white boy in Kenya in a bar right now, touching on a 16-year-old, 12-year-old, touching on her, saying, "Hey, you come back to my room, I'll give you some pocket change." And she's like, "Oh, okay, sure." And her father knows it, and the governor knows it, and the president knows it. Everybody knows it, but they're not gonna do anything to this white boy because this white boy, because first off, this black girl, like who cares? You understand? I mean, I care, but down there, like I don't got nothing. I got no say. I got no pull down there. This white boy, he's friends with the diplomat. He's friends with the embassy. You understand? American embassy or the Italian embassy. Italian community pays taxes, big taxes in Kenya. Little girls from a little village don't pay no taxes. Nobody's gonna be chasing away these Italians for that. Not unless the people, not unless the consciousness change, not unless it's a transformation. I don't know if y'all know. I remember one of the stories I heard. I think it was in Zanzibar. Okay, I remember in African history. I was so proud of this. But I don't know if it was Zanzibar or not. But look, I think it was. They were like they had this revolution, and this was somebody else's interpretation. It might have actually been Basil Davidson's interpretation. I don't remember. I was in college, right? But they were saying that one of the reasons why they chased these Muslims out was because the Muslims kept sexually abusing the girls. Like they kept marrying the girls young and sexually abusing the girls and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually they had a revolution and they chased them out. Now when you read up on these revolutions, they don't say that. They don't say anything about the Muslims and blah blah blah. But it's my impression that that's the real interpretation, or that's part of the interpretation. That realistically speaking, these foreigners come in and they're just abusing your people for years, for decades, for centuries. And then finally it's like, oh, that's enough is enough. But we have to say enough is enough right now. Because it's not getting better without us. So I mean, we have to be serious, and that's why I say, look, you get your reading on, you get your information, you get your instructions, and then we go and we work together. Cause see, I can't chase out people by myself. I want you. I can't chase out whole groups of whole communities by myself. I can't. You know, if the Italian community in Kenya, because there's an Italian community in Kenya, right? If the Italian community in Kenya wants to do whatever it wants, but they paying taxes in Kenya and can't say, oh no, I don't want, well, I gotta have my own community. We gotta have our own community that's paying more taxes. And if we say, look, we finna move unless you get these guys out, right? And they're gonna say, okay, well look, hold on a second, you giving us triple, quadruple. We'll move them out. We'll move them out for you. You have to understand that we are, if the Italians can do it, we can do it. Okay? If the Italians can do it, we can do it. So let's get to it. But this is why I say, look, you get this book, because the part of this book is that it says, look, when you read this book, then I know we can work together. I don't know if we can work together before that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know you might have read, Chance Williams. I know you might have did. I also know you might be talking, because a lot of people read Chance Williams and this and that. So y'all also reading, Aman, Rifa, all these other people. I don't know what's in your head. When you read my book, I know what's in your head, because I put it there. You understand? I know what's in your head because I put it there. Now I say, okay, we can work together. You understand? You can. You understand what needs to be done. You understand the work that we want to do. You understand? Because like I said, I'm not even gonna go into it. But like there's other books that you might read, you might pick up on other things. You might be like, okay, well I'm gonna do the stock market now, or okay, well I'm gonna be I'm gonna join General Motors right now, Or okay, I'm gonna have a franchise, with Wendy's right now. You might say that kind of stuff. That's not what that. I mean, look, and it's like you might just want that, and maybe you want to do more with it. I don't know. I don't know you. I'll know you when you read the book. Then I'm like, oh, okay. So you're doing the Wendy's franchise, but only so you can support the enterprise later. Gotcha. Makes sense. You just trying to get the bank, to get the land, to get the Boko Waset Nakeru go. That's understandable. We can. But if you just, I got Wendy's and now I'm gonna marry a white woman, get out of here. You understand? You understand? So James Mensa says hello. Peace, James. All right. So, and they are running in the opposite direction, going to access. And look at this. So he says, we are running away in the opposite direction and coming to clean toilets in different places and all the other things we do here. And they are running in the opposite direction, going to access all the other resources there. And now she said, look, don't you see that there is something wrong somewhere? And this is the title right here. Somebody is sleepwalking. And that person looks like you. Okay? So that's really the entirety of that. So it's just a paragraph. I listened to this paragraph and I said, gotta write this down, because I'm trying to save this. This book is for the future. You understand? I can't find this video on YouTube. Okay? Maybe it's there. I don't know. I was looking and I couldn't find it. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna play it for you, right? But that's one of the reasons why you transcribe it, because in 10 years we don't know what the internet's gonna be like. We don't know if YouTube's still going to be used. You understand? Maybe it will. Maybe it won't be. Maybe they'll take down a lot of stuff. Maybe they won't. Maybe it'll be under new management. Maybe it won't. It don't matter. Now you got the book. So you can show your children, and your children's children the wisdom of this Queen Mother. Right? Of this sister. You understand? Of Mama. You got me? But alright, look here. Here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you guys this flyer. Right? Boom. So this is, I actually changed the picture. Right. This is Me, you already know. And this is I'm a Bookman, you know. So it's going to be Pro Black Perspectives presents Ancient or Contemporary, which African spirituality will unite us, right? And so this is a debate between Pan-Africanists. So it's going to be two Pan-Africanists. Sometimes y'all have debates between two people from different... No, I'm putting it so that we can advance the narrative. You know? It's going to be two Pan-Africanists. You know, two people from the same ideology going at each other, right? So you got Onitaset Kumat, you got me, and you got I'm a Bookman, she's cool, right? And it's going to be next week, Saturday, at 3 o'clock. So you see how this is 11 o'clock? You know, worship starts at 11 o'clock. You know, 3 o'clock, a few hours later, I'm going to get some lunch. I'm going to eat some food. I'm going to, you know, practice the voice, and it's all that. And it's going to be moderated by, you know, brother Azikiwe, you know, also known as whatever, Machiavelli. But you're gonna hear, you know, it's gonna be moderated. It's gonna be, you know, it's not gonna be too ranty, too ravey. Although I know y'all want to hear that, but all the same, that's gonna happen. So make sure you tune in for that. Subscribe to the channel, and you know, hope to see you and hear from you there. Then, but until next time, that was the whole program. So make sure you check out other programs on KWAZ Radio. Yesterday, Bit of Medicine did a podcast on Amilcar Cabral, and you know that the paper he was reading was like on point. You know, Amilcar was like one of the top tier, and if you know, I was trying to read his book the other day, so I'm thinking about revisiting that because, you know, like Amilcar, like we have to study our ancestors, you know, to get the instructions. You know, this was you know, a Baba who did the work to not just free his people, but to free his people. You understand? So definitely check that out. So we're gonna have the debate next week, as well as, you know, like everything going forward. So obviously we're also gonna have the, you know, reading the next chapter. Next chapter is another Affiong, but you gotta go for it. And Bit of Medicine says, bring on the rants. You understand? So, you know, I'm gonna try to not be ranty, but, you know, if it comes to it, you know, I mean, this moderator is gonna be tough on me. So I don't know if y'all listen to the podcast enough, you know Machiavelli tough on me. So you know, he's gonna say 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and it's gonna, you know, time. You know what I mean? So but it is what it is. But anyway, thank you so much, family, for listening. And of course, like I said, subscribe to all the people on KWAZ Radio, because it's always nice. You know, a lot of free thinking, a lot of just like genuine people. So, you know, definitely check it out. And of course, if you looking to have your own program, make sure you hit up KWAZ Radio. All right. So until then, Shemiam Hotep and Uncle Johnson Neb Neb, I'm in my eye. Do I netcha.